Today on the Daily Scoop podcast from the Scoop News Group. The U.S. is slipping on cybersecurity. And President Trump looks to replace General James Mingus as Army Vice Chief of Staff. It's Wednesday, October 22nd, 2025. Welcome to the Daily Scoop podcast, where you'll hear the latest news and trends facing government leaders. I'm the host of the Daily Scoop podcast, Billy Mitchell. Thanks so much for joining me. Now let's dive into the day's top headlines. According to a new report from the successor organization to the Cyberspace Solarium Commission published on Wednesday, the Trump administration should reverse cyber personnel and budget cuts, strengthen the Office of the National Cyber Director, and expand federal workforce initiatives. The annual implementation report from CSC 2.0 is the first of 5 iterations to actually determine that the nation has gone backward on enacting the agenda of the landmark bipartisan commission, whose suggestions led to the creation of major new federal organizations and policies, including the National Cyber Director's Office. In grading the degree to which its 2020 report had been enacted, whether they are implemented, nearing implementation, on track, progress limited, or facing significant barriers, the percentages dropped in every category after years of rising or staying steady. The Trump administration's federal budget cuts haven't spared cyber agencies and missions. President Donald Trump has restructured State Department cyber work and eliminated a public-private panel devoted to critical infrastructure information sharing. Meanwhile, his nominee to lead CISA is still awaiting Senate confirmation. The first recommendation in Wednesday's report is to enhance the power of the National Cyber Director, who, according to the report, still lacks the positional authority and interagency relationships needed to enforce decisions across the government. For instance, it can review agency budget submissions but can't align cyber investments across departments. 2 of the report's other recommendations suggest restoring the sliced CISA budget and workforce and restoring the State Department Bureau of Cyberspace and Diplomacy. Another recommends undoing the elimination of the public-private panel, the Critical Infrastructure Partnership Advisory Council. And the 5th and final recommendation is to expand the talent pool of the cyber workforce and improve retention. On that count, the report notes, the Trump administration rollbacks of diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives have had direct impacts on the federal cyber talent pipeline. Now moving on to other news, President Donald Trump nominated Lieutenant General Christopher LaNeve on Monday to serve as the next Vice Chief of Staff of the Army and recommended his appointment to the grade of general. While an official hearing date hasn't yet been made public, if confirmed by the Senate, LaNeve will replace General James Mingus, the longtime innovator who was sworn in as the Army's No. 2 general officer and principal deputy to the Chief of Staff, General Randy George, in January 2024 under the Biden administration. The announcement follows an unusual gathering of hundreds of top U.S. military officials at Marine Corps Base Quantico last month, where Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth stated that he had already removed several high-ranking service members and suggested that more people would be pushed out if they did not conform to his vision for a less woke military that's fit, not fat. There's not a fixed term or limit to the position of Vice Chief of Staff, and former officials' tenures in the capacity vary. A Pentagon spokesperson did not immediately answer questions from Defense Scoop about the timing or reasoning behind the nomination, but confirmed that LaNeve was selected by the president to serve in the post. Mingus previously served as a soldier and special operator and has commanded at every echelon from company to division. As Army Vice Chief, he has been bullish alongside his colleagues about overhauling how the service builds, buys, and deploys modern weapons and technology, contributing greatly to the Army Transformation Initiative. He is also considered a key enabler for next-generation command and control, which broadly refers to the state of the Army's future network and marks the service's #1 modernization priority. If LaNeve earns Senate approval, he would depart his current role, which he assumed in April, directly advising Hegseth as a senior military assistant to the secretary. Before that, he served as the commanding general of the 8th Army in the Republic of Korea and as the commanding general of the 82nd Airborne Division, among other senior positions. For more news at the intersection of the federal government and technology, make sure to visit fedscoop.com. Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of the Daily Scoop podcast, available on all podcast platforms. If you've already rated the podcast on your platform of choice, thanks so much. High ratings and good reviews of the show help more people to find it. The Daily Scoop podcast is a production of the Scoop News Group in Washington, D.C. Adam Butler and Carlin Fisher help put the show together, and the entire Scoop News Group team contributes. We'll be back tomorrow with more top headlines. Until then, I'm your host, as always, Billy Mitchell. Thanks so much for listening.